Ambassador Elena Vasquez stared at the message on her screen for the third time. The words were polite, but she could feel the threat hiding behind them. The Galactic Council wanted to see humanity about a small matter regarding their colonies. They asked for a simple diplomatic shuttle to visit the neutral station at Kepler 7. Elena had been Earth's ambassador to alien species for 5 years now. She knew when aliens were being fake nice. This message felt like a parent calling a child to the principal's office. The tone made her angry, but she kept her face calm. Years of dealing with alien politics had taught her to hide her feelings. She touched the communication button on her desk. "Get me Admiral Torres," she said to her assistant. While she waited, Elena looked out the window of the orbital station. Earth hung below her like a blue marble. Somewhere down there, her daughter was probably doing homework. Elena wondered if she would see her again after this mission. Admiral Sarah Torres appeared on the screen. Her gray hair was pulled back tight and her uniform was perfect as always. "Ambassador, I got the message too. What do you think?" "It's a trap," Elena said without hesitation. "They want us to bring one small ship so they can either destroy us or make us look weak. The Hegemony Consortium has been pushing for this. They want our colonies," Torres nodded. "Our people on New Colorado sent word yesterday. Hegemony ships have been seen near the system. They're not just watching anymore." Elena felt her stomach tighten. New Colorado was humanity's newest colony. 300,000 people lived there now. Families, children, people who had left Earth to build something new. The Hegemony wanted to make them slaves just like they had done to other young species. "What does Earth Command say?" Elena asked. Torres smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "President Chen has given us permission to respond appropriately. We're sending Captain Marcus Chen in the Retribution." Elena's eyes went wide. The Retribution was humanity's secret weapon. Most aliens didn't even know it existed. Earth had spent 10 years building it after first contact with hostile aliens. It was disguised to look like a simple transport ship, but inside it was pure death. "Are you sure that's wise?" Elena asked. "If they discover what the Retribution really is, then they'll learn that humanity is not as weak as they think," Torres said firmly. "Elena, they took our people on Kepler 9. They made them work in their minds like animals. The Council did nothing. Now they want our newest colony too. This ends here." Elena nodded slowly. She had seen the reports from Kepler 9. Humans working 18-hour days in dangerous mines. Children separated from parents. People dying from exhaustion. The Galactic Council said it was temporary protective custody while they investigated human illegal expansion. That was 2 years ago. "When do we leave?" Elena asked. "Tomorrow. Captain Chen is already preparing his crew. He'll transfer to the Retribution tonight." After Torres ended the call, Elena sat alone in her office. She pulled up files about Captain Marcus Chen, age 38, born on Mars. Lost his parents in the first alien attack on humanity's mining station at Proxima Centauri. He had joined Earth's military the next day and never looked back. Chen was known for being calm under pressure. His crew trusted him completely. Admiral Torres had handpicked him to command the Retribution when it was finished 3 years ago. Since then, he had been training with the ship, learning every system, preparing for a day like this. Elena packed her things slowly. She took pictures of her family, her favorite coffee mug, and the small Earth flag her daughter had given her. "For good luck, Mom," her daughter had said. Elena would need all the luck she could get. The next morning, Elena took a shuttle to the military section of the station. The Retribution sat in the main bay, looking exactly like a civilian transport ship. It was silver and simple with no visible weapons. Only someone who knew what to look for would notice the extra thick hull or the strange energy readings. Captain Chen met her at the airlock. He was tall and thin with dark hair and serious brown eyes. He shook her hand firmly. "Ambassador, welcome aboard. I hope you had a good trip." "Thank you, Captain. I have to admit I'm nervous about this meeting." Chen smiled slightly. "Don't be. We're ready for whatever they throw at us." Elena followed him through the ship. The hallways looked normal, but she noticed the crew members. They moved with military precision. Their uniforms were clean and sharp. These were Earth's best soldiers disguised as simple transport workers. Chen showed her to the bridge. It looked like any civilian ship's control center, but Elena could see hidden panels and extra screens. "We'll reach Kepler 7 in 4 days, Chen said. "During that time, my crew and I will prepare for all possibilities." "What if they really do just want to talk?" Elena asked. Chen's expression darkened. Then we'll talk. But if they try to hurt you or threaten our people, they'll learn what humanity is really capable of. Elena looked at the star chart on the main screen. Kepler-7 was a long way from Earth. If something went wrong, help would not come quickly. But looking at Captain Chen and his crew, she felt a spark of hope. Humanity had been pushed around for too long. Maybe it was time to push back. As the Retribution left Earth's orbit, Elena sent a final message to her daughter. Be good for Grandma. Mommy has to go to work, but I'll be home soon. She hoped it was true. The ship jumped to faster-than-light travel, and the stars became streaks of light outside the windows. In 4 days, the galaxy would learn that humanity was done being polite. They had expected a shuttle carrying scared diplomats. Instead, they were getting humanity's answer to decades of insults and threats. Captain Chen stood on his bridge, watching the stars rush past. His crew worked quietly around him, checking weapons systems hidden behind fake panels. In 4 days, everything would change. The Galactic Council thought they were dealing with primitive humans who would bow to pressure. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Captain Marcus Chen watched the sensor readings as they approached Kepler-7 station. The massive structure hung in space like a metal city, its lights twinkling against the dark background of stars. But Chen was more interested in what his sensors were telling him about the ships nearby. Sir, I'm reading 12 hegemony warships, reported Lieutenant Commander Sarah Park from the sensor station. They're trying to hide behind the station's sensor shadow, but our new scanners can see them clearly. Chen nodded grimly. Any others? Scanning now, sir. I'm picking up energy signatures from at least 20 more ships spread throughout the system. They're powered down to minimal levels, but they're definitely there. Elena Vasquez stood beside Chen's command chair, her diplomatic bag in her hand. She looked pale but determined. 32 ships against 1, she said quietly. They really want to make sure we cooperate. Let them think they have the advantage, Chen replied. How's our disguise holding up? Chief Engineer Rodriguez answered from his station. Holographic projectors are working perfectly, sir. To their sensors, we look exactly like a civilian transport. Hull thickness appears normal. No weapons visible. Engine output matches civilian specifications. Chen smiled coldly. The Retribution was humanity's greatest achievement in military technology. 2 kilometers long and armed with weapons that could crack a moon. But right now it looked like a simple transport ship barely 200 meters in length. The holographic system was just one of many surprises his ship carried. Sir, we're being hailed by the station, announced Communications Officer Williams. Put them through. The main screen flickered to life, showing a tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms. Counselor Zethkar was known throughout the galaxy as someone who could be bought. His expensive robes and jewelry showed how well the hegemony had been paying him. The humans have arrived, Zethkar said with fake friendliness. Welcome to Kepler-7th station. Please dock at Bay 94. We are eager to begin our discussions. Thank you, Counselor, Elena replied smoothly. We look forward to resolving this matter quickly and peacefully. Chen cut the communication. Bay 94 is isolated from the rest of the station, he told Elena. Easy to cut off if they want to take you prisoner. I know, Elena said, but we have to play their game for now. The Retribution moved slowly toward the docking bay, maintaining its disguise. Chen watched the tactical display as more enemy ships moved into position. They were surrounding the station now, cutting off all escape routes. Or so they thought. Sir, should I power up weapons? Asked Tactical Officer Grant. Not yet. Let's see how far they want to push this. Elena gathered her things and headed toward the airlock. Remember, Captain, I need at least 30 minutes to get information about our people. The hegemony has been moving prisoners from several captured human colonies. I need to know where they are. You'll have your 30 minutes, Chen promised. And if they try anything stupid, you'll have a lot more than that. Elena transferred to the station through a sealed docking tube. Chen watched her go, then turned to his crew. All right, people. The ambassador is on her own now. Let's make sure she has support when she needs it. The bridge became busy as the crew prepared for action. Weapon systems came online behind false panels. Shield generators powered up slowly to avoid detection. The ship's massive engines were ready to provide full power at a moment's notice. On the station, Elena was escorted through clean hallways to a conference room. The room was large and impressive, with a curved table and seats for dozens of delegates. But only 3 aliens waited for her. Counselor Zethkar, Admiral Korvthak of the Hegemony, and a thin alien she didn't recognize. Ambassador Vasquez. Zethkar began as she sat down. We have called this meeting to discuss humanity's continued expansion into disputed space. Elena kept her voice calm. I wasn't aware that any of our colonies were in disputed space. We filed all proper claims with the Galactic Council. Admiral Korvthak leaned forward. He was a massive alien with thick armor plating instead of skin and eyes like black holes. Your claims are meaningless. The space you have taken belongs to the Hegemony by right of discovery. Discovery rights are void if no colony ship is sent within 50 years, Elena countered. Galactic law is quite clear on this. The thin alien spoke for the first time. Laws change, human. The Council has voted to extend discovery rights to 200 years. Your colonies are now illegal. Elena felt her heart sink. It was a setup from the beginning. They had changed the laws just to steal humanity's worlds. When was this vote taken? Yesterday, Zethkar said with a nasty smile. The decision is final. Your people have 30 days to evacuate all colonies, or they will be placed under hegemony protection. Elena knew what hegemony protection meant. Slavery, pure and simple. Humans would work in alien mines and factories until they died. Children would be taken from their parents and raised as workers. It was what had happened to 6 other young species in the past 50 years. And if we refuse, she asked. Admiral Korvthak's smile showed too many teeth. Then we will remove your people by force, starting with the ship that brought you here. Elena activated her communication device. Captain Chen, are you receiving this? Chen's voice came through clearly. Every word, Ambassador. I think we've heard enough. Korvthak laughed, a sound like grinding metal. Your little transport ship cannot protect you, human. We have more than 30 warships in this system. Surrender now and we will allow you to live as a slave instead of dying as a free being. Elena stood up slowly. Admiral, you seem to be under the impression that we came here in a simple transport ship. Of course you did. Our sensors show a civilian vessel, lightly armed, no threat to anyone. Elena smiled for the first time since arriving at the station. Captain Chen, I think it's time to show them what humanity really thinks of their demands. Back on the Retribution, Chen gave the order he had been waiting years to give. Drop all disguises. Bring us to full combat readiness, and someone please remind our guests that humanity doesn't negotiate with slavers. The holographic projectors shut down. The false hull plating retracted. Weapon ports opened along the ship's massive length. In seconds, the harmless transport became what it really was, humanity's most powerful warship. The reaction on the station was immediate. Alarms began blaring. Korvthak's face went pale as his own sensors told him the impossible truth. Where there had been a small transport, now floated a ship larger than his entire fleet combined. Chen opened communications to the entire system. His voice was calm, but every alien who heard it felt a chill of fear. This is Captain Marcus Chen of the United Earth Ship Retribution. You were expecting a shuttle. Instead, you found humanity's answer to galactic bullying. I suggest you reconsider your position. The silence that followed Captain Chen's announcement lasted exactly 3 seconds. Then chaos erupted across the Kepler-7 system. Admiral Korvthak stared at his tactical display in disbelief. The readings had to be wrong. No ship could be that large, that heavily armed. His sensors showed a vessel bristling with weapons he didn't recognize, protected by shields stronger than anything in the hegemony fleet. Impossible, he whispered. Humans don't have that kind of technology. On the station, Elena watched the Admiral's face change from smug confidence to growing fear. She had never seen anything more satisfying. Admiral, would you like to reconsider your demands? Korvthak's black eyes narrowed. He activated his communicator. All ships, this is Admiral Korvthak. Attack the human vessel immediately. Destroy it before it can escape. Elena shook her head sadly. You really should have chosen differently. The first wave of attackers came from behind the station. 12 hegemony fighters swept around the massive structure, their weapons charging for attack runs. Chen watched them approach on his tactical display, feeling almost sorry for the pilots. Sir, enemy fighters incoming, reported Tactical Officer Grant. Should I target them with the main guns? That would be like using a sledgehammer to kill flies, Chen replied. Deploy defensive drones instead. Let's show them what human point defense looks like. Hundreds of small drones launched from hidden bays along the Retribution's hull. Each one was no bigger than a basketball. but they moved within human speed and precision. The hegemony pilots had never seen anything like them. The first alien fighter fired its plasma cannons at the approaching drones. The energy beams passed harmlessly through empty space as the drones twisted away from the attacks with impossible agility. Then the drones fired back. Streams of particle beams lanced out from the tiny machines. The beams were thin as pencils but cut through the alien fighters' shields like they weren't there. The pilot had just enough time to realize his ship was dying before it exploded in a ball of flame. 11 more fighters died in the next 30 seconds. The drones moved like a swarm of angry insects appearing from nowhere, striking with deadly precision then vanishing again. Not one of them was destroyed. "Sir, all enemy fighters eliminated," Grant reported. "No damage to our drones," Chen nodded. "Recall the drones. Let's see what they send next." Admiral Korvthak watched his fighter screen disappear from the tactical display. 12 of his best pilots gone in half a minute. The human ship hadn't even used its main weapons yet. "Sir, what are your orders?" asked his communications officer. Korvthak straightened his uniform. He had not become an admiral by backing down from fights. "Signal the heavy cruisers. Full attack formation. If we can't outfight them, we'll overwhelm them with numbers." 5 massive hegemony cruisers moved away from their hiding spots behind asteroids. Each ship was 800 meters long and armed with the most powerful weapons the hegemony could build. Their combined firepower could level a city. Chen watched them approach with professional interest. "Grant, target the lead cruiser. Let's see how their shields handle our railguns." The Retribution's main railgun was a weapon that turned physics into artillery. It accelerated projectiles to a significant fraction of light speed using magnetic fields stronger than those found inside stars. When the tungsten slug hit the cruiser's shields, the results were spectacular. The alien ship's defensive barriers flared bright blue, then purple, then white-hot before collapsing completely. The projectile punched through the cruiser's armor like it was made of paper. Secondary explosions lit up the ship's hull as internal systems overloaded. "Direct hit, sir. Enemy cruiser severely damaged." "One shot," Chen said quietly. Their most powerful ship crippled with one shot. The damaged cruiser tried to retreat, leaking atmosphere and debris. The other 4 cruisers continued their attack, firing massive plasma bolts at the Retribution. The human ship's shields absorbed the incoming fire without even flickering. "Sir, enemy weapons are having no effect on our shields," Engineer Rodriguez reported. "Their plasma cannons are actually charging our capacitors. We're gaining power from their attacks." Chen smiled grimly. Human shield technology was based on a simple principle: turn enemy attacks into useful energy. The harder they hit, the stronger the Retribution became. Return fire. All forward batteries. The Retribution's response was devastating. 6 railgun slugs and a dozen antimatter torpedoes streaked toward the enemy cruisers. The aliens tried to dodge, but their ships were too slow and too big. 3 cruisers exploded instantly when the antimatter warheads found their targets. The 4th lost its entire forward section to a railgun hit. In less than 5 minutes, Admiral Korvthak had lost most of his fleet. The survivors were retreating as fast as their engines could carry them. On the station, Counselor Zethkar stared at the tactical display in horror. "How is this possible? Humans are a young species. They shouldn't have weapons like this." Elena stood up from her chair.
"Counselor, humanity has been fighting wars since before we discovered fire."
"When we reached the stars, we brought that experience with us. You made the mistake of thinking we were weak." Admiral Korvthak was shouting orders at his remaining ships, trying to organize a retreat. His flagship was one of the few vessels still capable of fighting, but he had no desire to test it against the human monster. "All ships, withdraw to jump distance. We'll regroup and call for reinforcements." Chen's voice came over the communication system again. "Admiral, you're not going anywhere. You came here to threaten human colonies and enslave our people. Now you're going to answer for those crimes." More ships appeared on the tactical display. The hidden hegemony vessels were powering up, abandoning their concealment to help their admiral escape. 23 warships against 1 human dreadnought. The odds should have been impossible. But Chen had been waiting for this moment. "All stations, this is the captain. We are now engaged with multiple enemy vessels. Show them what happens when someone threatens human families." The Retribution turned toward the fleeing ships like a predator that had caught the scent of prey. Its massive engines flared to life, pushing the dreadnought forward at speeds that made the alien crews panic. "Sir, multiple enemy ships are trying to jump to hyperspace," Grant reported. "Jam their hyperspace drives." Nobody leaves until we're finished here. The Retribution's electronic warfare suite was as advanced as its weapons. Invisible energy fields reached out across space, disrupting the delicate systems that allowed faster-than-light travel. The alien ships found themselves trapped in normal space with an angry human dreadnought bearing down on them. Elena watched the battle from the station's observation deck. Explosions lit up the darkness as human weapons found their targets. The Retribution moved through the enemy fleet like a shark among minnows, too fast to catch, too powerful to stop. She opened her communicator again. Captain Chen, I'm getting the information we need. The hegemony has our people from 3 colonies imprisoned on their mining world in the Xerion system. Understood, Ambassador. We'll deal with that after we finish here. Elena looked at Counselor Zethkar, who was standing beside her with his mouth open in shock. Counselor, I believe humanity would like to renegotiate our status in the Galactic Council. Zethkar could only nod weakly as another hegemony ship exploded in the distance. The battle was almost over, but Elena knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had announced itself to the galaxy as a force to be respected. The age of being pushed around by alien bullies was ending, and the galaxy was about to learn that humans protected their own. The remaining hegemony ships spread out in a wide formation, trying to use their numbers to surround the lone human vessel. Admiral Korfthak had regrouped his forces, 18 heavy cruisers, 12 destroyers, and his massive flagship. Against any other enemy, it would have been overwhelming force. Captain Chen studied the tactical display with calm eyes. His crew worked around him with quiet efficiency, checking systems and preparing for the next phase of battle. The first skirmish had shown the aliens that human technology was superior. Now they would learn that human tactics were even more dangerous. Sir, enemy ships are moving to encircle us, reported Lieutenant Commander Park. They're trying to catch us in crossfire. Let them, Chen replied. Grant, prepare the stealth drones. I want them positioned behind the enemy formation before they realize what's happening. Dozens of larger drones launched silently from the Retribution's aft bays. Unlike the defensive swarm units, these were the size of small shuttles and completely invisible to alien sensors. They moved slowly through space using minimal power to avoid detection. Admiral Korfthak watched his fleet close the trap. The human ship was powerful, but it was still just one vessel. His tactical computers showed optimal firing positions being reached in 3 minutes. All ships maintain formation. When we reach firing range, concentrate all weapons on their shield generators. We'll overwhelm their defenses through sheer volume of fire. It was standard hegemony doctrine. Use superior numbers to crush any resistance. It had worked against every other species they had conquered. The Admiral was confident it would work against humans too. On the station, Elena watched the alien ships move into position. She could see what they were trying to do, and she felt a moment of worry. Even the mighty Retribution had limits. Counselor Zethkar seemed to sense her concern. Your ship is impressive, Ambassador, but it cannot fight 29 vessels at once. Perhaps you should consider surrender while your captain is still alive to make the choice. Elena looked at the counselor with pity. You really don't understand humans at all, do you? Chen waited until the enemy ships were exactly where he wanted them. The alien formation was perfect for their tactics, but terrible for what was about to happen to them. All drones in position. Sir, reported Grant. Awaiting your orders. Execute Plan Custer. The stealth drones activated simultaneously. Energy weapons lanced out from behind the hegemony formation, striking the alien ship's engines and weapon systems. The aliens had been so focused on the Retribution that they never thought to watch their rear. 6 destroyers lost power immediately, drifting helplessly as their crews tried to restart damaged engines. 3 cruisers found their main guns offline, sparking and useless. The surprise attack had crippled nearly a third of the enemy fleet before they could react. Enemy vessels taking damage from unknown sources, Admiral Korfthak's tactical officer reported. Sir, I'm reading weapons fire from our rear quarter, but sensors show nothing there. Impossible. Scan again. While the aliens struggled to understand what was happening, Chen ordered the Retribution forward at full attack speed. The massive dreadnought accelerated directly toward the center of the enemy formation, its weapons charging for maximum effect. Sir, are we really charging straight at them? Asked Lieutenant Park. Best place to be when you're outnumbered, Chen replied calmly. In the middle of their formation where they can't all shoot at you without hitting each other. It was a maneuver that violated every rule of space combat. Ships were supposed to maintain distance and fight with long-range weapons. What Chen was doing should have been suicide. Instead, it was brilliant. The Retribution plunged into the heart of the alien formation like a spear through cloth. Enemy ships scattered in all directions, trying to avoid collision with the human dreadnought. Their careful formation collapsed into chaos as captains chose individual survival over group tactics. Chen used their confusion ruthlessly. The Retribution's weapons fired continuously as it passed through the enemy fleet. Railguns punched through hull armor. Antimatter torpedoes turned proud warships into expanding clouds of gas. Energy weapons sliced through alien vessels like invisible swords. Direct hit on enemy flagship, Grant reported. Their forward shields are down. Again, target their bridge. Admiral Korvthak felt his ship shudder as human weapons found their mark. Warning alarms filled the bridge as systems failed one by one. Through the smoke and sparks, he watched the human ship emerge from his formation like a nightmare made real. Half his fleet was gone. The survivors were scattered and confused, many of them damaged and unable to fight effectively. The humans had turned his numerical advantage into a liability. "Sir, the human ship is coming around for another pass," his tactical officer reported. Korvthak looked at his display and felt something he had never experienced before in battle. Fear. Not fear of death, but fear of complete failure. The humans had made his entire fleet look like amateurs. All ships, retreat to maximum range. Reform at jump point 7. But the stealth drones were still active, still hunting. As the alien ships tried to retreat, invisible predators struck again and again. More vessels lost power or weapons. Some simply exploded as drone attacks found critical systems. Elena watched the battle with growing amazement. She had known the Retribution was powerful, but this was artistry. Captain Chen wasn't just defeating the enemy fleet. He was destroying it with style and precision. "How is this possible?" Zethkar whispered. "One ship against 30. The mathematics are impossible." "You're thinking like an alien," Elena replied. "Humans don't fight fair. We fight to win." The remaining hegemony ships were running now, all thoughts of victory abandoned. But Chen wasn't finished with them yet. He opened communications to the entire system, his voice carrying clearly to every alien crew. "Admiral Korvthak, this is Captain Chen. You came here to enslave human families. You threatened our colonies and our people. Now you're learning the price of that mistake." The Retribution continued its pursuit, picking off stragglers with methodical precision. Each shot was perfectly placed, each attack calculated for maximum effect. The alien crews began to understand that they weren't just being defeated. They were being hunted. "Sir, we could let some of them escape," Grant suggested quietly. "Send a message to the rest of the hegemony." Chen considered this. "No. They came here to destroy us completely. We'll return the favor. No mercy for slavers." The battle continued for another hour, but the outcome was never in doubt. When the last hegemony ship exploded in a ball of flame, the Kepler-7 system belonged to humanity. Elena returned to the conference room where the 3 alien representatives waited. They looked very different now. The arrogance was gone, replaced by fear and shock. "Gentlemen," she said formally, "I believe we were discussing humanity's status in the galaxy. Would you like to reconsider your position?" Counselor Zethkar's hands shook as he activated his communicator. "Emergency session of the Galactic Council. Priority 1, the humans are not what we thought they were." Elena smiled. "No, Counselor. We're exactly what we've always been. You just weren't paying attention." On the Retribution's bridge, Captain Chen looked at the debris field that had once been a hegemony fleet. His crew was already scanning for survivors, following human military tradition of helping the defeated. "Sir, incoming transmission from Earth Command," Williams reported. Admiral Torres appeared on the screen, and Chen could see the satisfaction in her eyes. "Well done, Captain. I trust the negotiations went well." "The aliens have agreed to reconsider their position," Chen replied dryly. "Excellent. Phase 2 is ready to begin when you are." Chen nodded. The galaxy thought they had seen humanity's full strength. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The real demonstration was just beginning. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened within hours of the battle at Kepler-7. Representatives from dozens of species gathered in the Great Chamber on Nexus Prime, their voices creating a buzz of nervous conversation. News of the hegemony fleet's destruction had spread quickly through diplomatic channels. Councillor Zethkar stood at the central podium, his blue skin pale with shock. He had witnessed something that challenged everything the galaxy thought it knew about humanity. "Honored delegates," he began, his voice unsteady. "We have gravely underestimated the human species. Their military capabilities far exceed our intelligence reports. A single human vessel destroyed an entire hegemony battle fleet." Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the chamber. The Volanti representative, a tall insect-like being, clicked his mandibles in agitation. "Impossible. Humans have been in space for less than a century. They cannot possess such technology." "I saw it with my own eyes," Zethkar replied. "Their ship appeared to be a simple transport, but it was actually a weapon beyond our understanding. We must reconsider our approach to human expansion immediately." On the Retribution, Captain Chen received the transmission he had been expecting. Admiral Torres appeared on the main screen, but she was not alone. Behind her, Chen could see the bridge of another ship, and his eyes widened slightly. "Captain Chen, congratulations on your victory," Torres said formally. "I believe it's time for Phase 2 of our demonstration." Chen nodded. "Understood, Admiral. Are the other ships in position?" "All vessels report ready. You may begin when the moment is right." Elena stood beside Chen on the bridge, having returned from the station after her successful intelligence gathering. She had learned the locations of 3 human prison colonies, and confirmed that the Galactic Council had been taking bribes from the hegemony for years. "Captain, I'm receiving an urgent communication from the Council," Williams reported. "They're requesting immediate negotiations." "I bet they are," Elena said dryly. "Put them through." Councillor Zethkar's image appeared on screen, and Chen could see the desperation in his alien features. "Captain Chen, the Galactic Council wishes to open immediate diplomatic discussions regarding humanity's status. We may have been hasty in our previous decisions." Chen looked at Elena, who nodded slightly. It was time. "Counselor, I appreciate the Council's sudden interest in diplomacy. However, before we begin negotiations, I think you should see something." Chen gestured to Williams, who activated a system Elena had never seen before. The main screen shifted to show a tactical display of the local galactic sector. Dozens of red dots appeared, scattered across multiple star systems. "What you're seeing," Chen explained calmly, "are the positions of humanity's fleet. While you were focused on our simple transport ship, we've been positioning our real military assets throughout Council space." The dots on the display began moving, revealing themselves as human warships. Elena counted them quickly. 57 vessels, all of them the same size as the Retribution or larger. They had been hiding in asteroid fields, nebulae, and the dark spaces between stars. Zethkar's eyes went wide with horror. 57 ships? Impossible. Our intelligence shows humans have no more than a dozen vessels capable of interstellar travel. "Your intelligence was wrong about many things," Chen replied. "We've been building our fleet for 20 years, ever since first contact. We learned early that the galaxy was not a friendly place for new species." Admiral Torres's voice came through the communication system. "Counselor, this is Admiral Sarah Torres commanding the human fleet. Our ships are currently positioned near every major council world and hegemony stronghold. We're not here to threaten anyone, but we want to make our position clear." Elena stepped forward. "Counselor, humanity has 3 demands. First, immediate release of all human prisoners from hegemony labor camps. Second, full recognition of our colonies and territorial claims. Third, a permanent seat on the Galactic Council with full voting rights." "And if we refuse?" Zethkar asked weakly. Chen's smile was cold as winter on Mars. "Then you'll discover that humans are very good at problem solving, usually by removing the problem entirely." The tactical display updated again, showing human ships moving into attack positions around key worlds. The message was clear. Humanity was no longer asking for recognition. They were demanding it. On Nexus Prime, the council chamber erupted in panicked discussions. The hegemony representative, a hulking creature with armored skin, stood up angrily. "This is extortion. The council cannot bow to human threats." "Can't we?" asked the Alteran delegate, a small furry being known for pragmatism. "They just destroyed our strongest military ally with 1 ship. They have 57 more. I suggest we listen to their terms." Elena received a private communication from Captain Chen. "Ambassador, We're getting reports from our stealth ships. Hegemony prison camps on 3 worlds are being liberated as we speak. Our people are free. Elena felt tears in her eyes. Thousands of humans who had been enslaved for years were finally going home. It was worth everything they had risked. The Galactic Council voted quickly. The alternative to accepting human demands was a war they could not win. Humanity was granted full membership, their colonies were recognized, and emergency aid was authorized for the freed prisoners. But Chen had one more surprise. Admiral Torres, please proceed with the final demonstration. On screens throughout Council space, Admiral Torres appeared from the bridge of the UES Defiance, humanity's newest and largest warship. Behind her, Elena could see dozens of other human vessels in formation. Citizens of the galaxy, Torres announced, humanity is officially withdrawing from the Galactic Council's authority. We will form our own alliance with any species that wishes to join us on terms of equality and mutual respect. The shock in the council chamber was complete. They had expected humanity to be grateful for acceptance. Instead, humans were rejecting the entire system. Furthermore, Torres continued, any species currently under hegemony oppression is invited to seek protection under the human alliance. We have ships standing by to assist with relocation and defense. Within hours, 6 minor species had requested human protection. The Kalari, who had been forced to mine radioactive materials for the hegemony, sent their entire population to human-controlled space. The Zephyrians, whose homeworld had been strip-mined, begged for passage to human colonies where they could start over. Elena watched it all from the Retribution's bridge as they prepared to return to Earth. The galaxy had changed forever in the space of a single day. Humanity was no longer a junior species begging for scraps. They were a power that commanded respect. Captain Chen stood beside her, looking out at the stars. Do you think we did the right thing? He asked quietly. Elena thought about her daughter back on Earth, about the human families who were now free, about the alien species who would no longer live in fear of the hegemony. We did what we had to do, she replied. We protected our own and helped those who couldn't help themselves. That's what humans do, Chen nodded. The galaxy wanted to see what humanity was capable of. Now they know. As the Retribution jumped to hyperspace heading home to Earth, Elena composed her report to the President. It would be a short message. Mission accomplished. Humanity is no longer asking for its place in the galaxy. We're taking it. The age of human expansion had begun in earnest, and the galaxy would never be the same. Behind them, on Kepler 7 station, Counselor Zethkar stared out at the debris field where a hegemony fleet had once floated. He was already composing his own report, warning his government that the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted permanently. The humans had expected a diplomatic meeting. The galaxy had expected a simple shuttle carrying frightened negotiators. Instead, they had all learned that humanity's greatest weapon was not their ships or their technology. It was their refusal to accept defeat, their willingness to fight for what they believed in, and their absolute commitment to protecting their own. The galaxy had underestimated humanity for the last time.